Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to day 2 of the Reindeer Regatta. I'm Peter Waldersee. I'll be joined momentarily by Michael McRae, and we are lining up now with race number 94. Now this is the Women's Masters Single, Division 1. In lane 1, we have Nikki Lepresti, coached by Jeff Patterson. And she is B grade, so she will be going off 3 seconds. In lane 2, Bellendy Rowe, she is also B grade, going off 3 seconds, my apologies, from Glebe. In lane 3, Teresa Chadwick, so she's C grade. The rest of these are all C grade, going off go. So we have Teresa Chadwick, Jacqueline Harris, Daniela Bogart, Kate Wareham, Sarah Hill, and Anne Skilton. So they are in corresponding lanes, and we have the C grade scullers off now, and I believe that 3 seconds has passed, so we'll also have the B grade scullers off, and they will be trying to chase up that 3 second lead, which, as we know, over 1,000 meters is quite a challenging task. And just as a bit of a running update, it does look at this point about the 250 to 500 metre mark. That is the Mossman sculler Sarah Hill, the C grade sculler, who is ahead. Now, as we know with these Masters races, we do have a bit of a handicap for a reason. We do expect that the B grade scullers will have a little bit more speed to them. So it'll be interesting to see whether Sarah will be able to retain this lead coming into the latter half of this race. But it does at this point, my apologies, look like perhaps Glebe is making a push there. So that will be Glebe's Jacqueline Harris, also C grade, seems to just have her nose in front coming into the 500 metre mark, followed by lane 5's Daniela Bogart, and there's probably, I would say, half a second in that, at that 500 metre mark. So we will see if they're able to retain the 3 second lead there, but it certainly seems like there isn't anyone within 3 seconds of these two scullers. So we'll see at the red boys where these scullers come up. Coming into this last 100 metres, it looks like the tussle remains here between the Leichhardt sculler and the Glebe sculler. It does at this point look like Leichhardt might have just edged her way in front. Now that's the sculler of Daniela Bogart. She's been coached by Steve Sherry and Jeff Patterson, two very experienced coaches down there at Leichhardt. It looks like she's just going to be about half a length ahead of this Glebe sculler. Coming into the last 100 metres, that red boy mark, and she's seen those red boys and she started to lift her rate. So too has the Glebe sculler. So we'll see whether she's able to pull anything out in this last 100 metres, but I believe it looks like it might be a little bit too little too late. In this light headwind, it will be the sculler Daniela Bogart taking out first place ahead of Jacqueline Harris, the Glebe sculler. In third place, that second Leichhardt crew, Nikki Lepresti, followed by the Mossman sculler in lane 7. That would be Sarah Hill. And followed again by lane 2, Glebe's Belinda Rowe. And then we have the minor placings here, lane 3, 8, and I believe 6. I now pass our attention for the next 10 or so minutes to our very experienced commentator, Michael McRae, as I go and experience the fantastic facilities here and get myself a coffee and a snack at the lovely cafe just across from the grandstand. So I will pass our attention to Michael. It's fantastic to be here with you, Michael. I'll be back joining you in 5 or so minutes.
Thank you indeed, Peter. And we're just broadcasting this brief change in the commentary box. Early on in this morning's schedule, we've got race 95, I believe, coming down the course at the moment. It's Division 3 of the Women's Masters Single Scull. To run through the crews quickly, they're coming towards the dying stage of the race. From Drummoyne in lane 2 is Caroline Vernon, coached by Robin Mackney. In lane 3, representing Leichhardt, is Leslie Howard, coached by Jeff Patterson. In lane 3 from Drummoyne is Wendy Roncolato. In lane 5, my apologies, is Phoebe Sanders from Newcastle. In lane 6, representing Balmain, is Renata Ipma. In lane 7, representing Drummoyne, is Kath Hextell. And in lane 8 from Mossman is Rebecca Horrigan. Looks as though Kath Hextell from Drummoyne in lane 7 has her bow in front of Renata Ipma from Balmain in lane 6, and she'll take out this third division, closely followed by Ipma from Balmain. And in third place, the Newcastle sculler Sanders, followed by Howard of Leichhardt and then Roncolato of Drummoyne. And so a fairly tight field in that race 95. The previous race was a little bit more spread out. We just got we've got Howard from in lane 3 from Leichhardt. So of course, unofficially, in race 95, our place getters were as follows. First place, Drummoyne, Kath Hextell. Second place, Balmain, Renata Ipma. Third place, Newcastle, Phoebe Sanders. Fourth place, Caroline Vernon from Drummoyne. Fifth place, Wendy Roncolato from Drummoyne. And in sixth place, Leslie Howard of Leichhardt. And race 96 is underway. Not so long between these shorter 1,000 metre races. There's a slight head breeze that has picked up across the course this morning, so it'll be interesting to see how our scullers deal with that. So in lane 2 in race 96, Division 2 of the Women's Masters Single Scull, Janine Donovan from Drummoyne, coached by Robin Mackney. In lane 3 from Newcastle Uni is Michelle Duzel. In lane 4, representing Endeavour, Jules Bosco, coached by Peter Bond. In lane 5, representing Mossman, Edith de Boer. In lane 6, representing North Shore, Sarah Culhane. In lane 7, representing Mossman, M. Barrack. And in lane 8, representing Newcastle, Tess Fearon. And on our Bont live stream this morning, you will note that the wind has whipped up across the bows of our scullers this morning, make it just a little bit tougher just mean that our sculls will have to square a little bit later and make sure that the catch is in nice and solidly before any pressure starts to get applied in the water. And ladies and gentlemen, the race for 1 and 2 appears at the moment to be between Barrack of Mossman in lane 7, and I think it's Duzel of Newcastle Uni in lane 3. Now, of course, this is a Masters event, so there was 5-second handicaps given to lanes 2 through 5. Yes, it does appear it's Barrack and Duzel of Mossman and Newcastle Uni, respectively, battling it out for that first position, closely followed by Donovan of Drummoyne on the far side of the course, and then Fearon of Newcastle on the close side in lane 8. Doesn't look like Newcastle Uni's Duzel will be able to close the distance down on Mossman's M. Barrack, and she will take out the second division of the Women's Masters Singles Scull, unofficially in a time of 4:35, followed by Giselle of Newcastle Uni. Close finish there for third, and fourth place to Donovan of Drummoyne. Going stroke for stroke over the line is De Boer and Klein of North Shore and Mossman. And finally, to complete the field, is Jules Bosco of Endeavour Rowing Club. And a cracking pace, ladies and gentlemen, being set this morning. Race 97 is already underway. It's Division 4 of the Women's Masters Single Scull. This is also a handicapped race. In lane 2, representing St George, is Christine McCready, who's 61 years of age, and she has a 23-second handicap. In lane 3, representing Black Mountain Rowing Club in the ACT, is Pamela Nash, 62 years old, and she has a 23-second handicap also. In lane 4, representing Endeavour, is Chris Brennan, 13-second handicap. In lane 5, from North Shore, Janet Pendleton with a 13-second handicap also. And lane 6, representing Endeavour, is Lindy Nesbitt with a 13-second handicap. And off go was Anne Taylor of Mossman, coached by Kieran Glynn. Now, you would have seen on the Bont live stream Taylor from Mossman go off first. She's in lane 7, closest to the grandstand side. So in this headwind, it'll be tough conditions for chasing, but the scull is closing in on Taylor now by the looks of things, so has a rate of striking perhaps a little bit lower than some of her competitors on the far side of the course. Yeah, just on your screens there you'll see some fantastic sculling in the conditions being demonstrated by Nisbet of Endeavour and Pendleton of North Shore. Blade's not being caught up in the headwind too much. In fact, all our scullers looking exceedingly calm in the conditions, Peter.
Yeah, it's some good looking rowing here, Michael. And as you said, we do have that headwind coming in, which does add a little bit of an extra element to our racing. But certainly it will be good for the scullers here that may be going off 5 seconds. I feel like it extends that race. Gives them a little bit more time to catch up. So we'll see if that ends up being the case, but it does certainly seem like Mossman's M. Barrack here who was going off go. Oh, my apologies, Michael. Mossman's Anne Taylor, also going off go, who is still in the lead coming into the 500 metre mark.
And Peter's our scullers approach the final stages of this 1,000 metre race. It does appear as though Taylor of Mossman has maintained her lead. Of course, she is the beneficiary of the handicap system. But at this point in the race, it doesn't appear as though our faster scullers in the further lanes are doing heavy damage on Taylor's lead. Although, I would say that McCready of St George in lane 2, Pete, has lifted her rate of striking and is challenging Taylor's lead. And she's looking fantastic, isn't she, Christine McCready over there in the far lane? She's coached by Bruce Williams at St George down on the Georges River.
Yeah, and we have talked about this, Michael, before, where it is quite difficult when you've got two competitors on the far extremities of the course challenging each other. That is certainly the case here. So coming into that last 100 metres, though, it does look like it will be Mossman's Anne Taylor still in the lead, very narrowly over McCready.
Of course, it'll be close. And then of Pamela Nash from Black Mountain as well, making a late push in lane 3 there. But it will be close coming over the line. They are going stroke for stroke as it happens. Taylor goes up, as does McCready. It'll be really close. I'll leave this one to the judges.
Well,
I think it might have just been Anne Taylor who maintained the lead.
Certainly a photo finish there. That was a
high-octane racing so early in the morning. Fantastic.
Really wakes you up, doesn't it, Michael?
That's right. And so the remainder of the field now crossing the line. Nash in 3rd from Black Mountain. Brennan of Endeavour in 4th place. Nisbet of Endeavour in 6th place. And then Pendleton of North Shore in 6th. So our judge is just examining that first and second photo finish. That was Anne Taylor of Mossman and Christine McCready. It was very close indeed, Pete. It was just of Mossman and Christine McCready. It was very close indeed, Pete. It was just down to what stage of the stroke our scullers were at, and I think it just might have been Taylor at the dying stages.
Yeah, it looks like they're unofficially 0.25. It looked like
fantastic
it was
racing, isn't it?
Taylor, yeah, absolutely nothing in that one. And Mike, we now move to race 98, which is the Men's Masters double, as they come now through around the 500 metre mark of this 1K race. In lane 2, we have Leichhardt, Charles Buzcott, David Raymond, and they are coached by Jeff Patterson and Steve Sherry. In lane 3, Glebe, Andy Wigan and Darren O'Sullivan. In lane 4, Newcastle Uni, we've got Brad Smith and Mark Partridge. In lane 5, St George, Paul Wilkinson and Christopher Jones. In lane 6, Abbotsford, Steve Hill and Richard Jones. In lane 7, North Shore, Michael Taylor and Kim Rudder. In lane 8, Abbotsford, Charles McCaskill and Terry Borella. Now,
Pete, this will be a good race. It's looking fairly tight in the field so far, but what I will point out is that Buzzacott and Raymond in lane 2 of Leichhardt are the Men's Masters double champions. And they were they won that title down in Adelaide, I think it was this year. So they'll have a point to prove. Some fantastic scullers out there on the course as well, though. I know the Brad Smith and Mark Partridge combination will be strong. But
Yeah.
at this point, it does look as though Buzzercott and Raymond are exerting a lead on the rest of the field. They had the largest handicap as well over the McCaskill and Barella. 34 seconds off go.
Yeah, 34 seconds over 1 kilometre is a fair effort.
Absolutely.
So very impressive from these two scullers. And as you said, if they are the Masters doubles champions, you would expect,
And just
such an
look,
effort.
ladies and gentlemen, it's a fantastic exhibit of double sculling, both in a distinctive red outfit and looking festive indeed are Buzzercott and Raymond.
Yeah, some great festivities coming into day 2. We see the tinsel over the riggers. As they do come across first, it must be that festive spirit over Glebe. That's Andy Wiggin and Darren O'Sullivan. Following in a closer race there for lane 6 and 7, followed by lane 4, and then finally lane 5, Paul Wilkinson and Christopher Jones, coached by Bruce Williams. And finalising our field, lane 8, Abbotsford, Charles McCaskill and Terry Barella. Now, Michael, it is 8:09. Our previous race start was 8:01. The next race we have on the list will be the Women's Masters pair. Now, that's going to be raced at 8:49. So, a perfect time to go get some breakfast at the cafe, which you and me, Michael, have already done. Get a coffee, wake yourself up and get ready for some exciting racing. Starting back again at 8:49 is that magic time. So make sure we don't miss that. But for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the beautiful venue we've got here.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it, Peter.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with the Women's Masters Pair, race 99 on our program today. I believe we are underway now in this race, the Women's Masters Pair, with lane 3, Leichhardt, Nikki Lepresti, and Leslie Howard. Lane 4, Daniela Bogart and Jennifer Zonga. Lane 5, Belinda Brigham and Jane Hutchinson. Lane 6, Helen Byrne and Louise McCoach. And lane 7, Peggy McBride and Nikki Blackwell.
Thanks, Pete. Looks like we have a scratching from Byrne and McCoach of North Shore, but certainly 3 Leichhardt crews in this race. Bragging rights, certainly up for grabs today. We've seen these rowers out in the scull boats this morning. We just had a bit of an intermission there so that our scullers could get into the sweep ball. And they're on the course now, of course. On your Bont live stream screens, you'll see that Borgert and Zonga from Leichhardt, I think, just falling behind Byrne and McCoach of North Shore at this point in the race. Lane 7, McBride and Blackwell, my apologies, in lane 7 from North Shore. Yeah,
and there was probably I think it looks like a 10-second lead there, and it looks like we're probably at 5 seconds at the 500-metre mark. So it'll be really good coming across the finish line to see who handles that second 500 metres better. But as you said, Michael, it looks like it's North Shore, Peggy McBride and Nikki Blackwell coming across the 500 in first place at this point, followed by Leichhardt's Nikki Lepresti and Leslie Howard, if I'm not mistaken. My apologies, I think it might be Daniela Bogart and Jennifer Zonga in that very distinctive grey NTC boat.
That's right. Well, Daniela Borgert and Jenny Zonga down there at Leichhardt Rowing Club are two fantastic rowers. In fact, Jenny taught me how to row, as it happens, back at Leichhardt Rowing Club in 2012. So she knows what she's doing. And Danny is a spectacular athlete. She was out here at the first day of our Reindeer Regatta yesterday, competing in the open lightweight single.
Oh, quite impressive there.
48 years of age.
It's very impressive.
She's she's got a fantastic reputation.
Definitely a force to be reckoned
with.
And
just on your screen there, it's some fantastic sweep ball rowing on display here from that Leichhardt crew. That said, however, we'll pan out and we'll see that that crew from North Shore, I don't know. I wouldn't be so sure that they've got a lead now. I think they've just had some dirty strokes there, Pete, and it might be Zonga and Borgert that seizing the upper hand slightly.
It looks like they're definitely pushing back on them, and it was like we called at the 500-metre mark, Michael, that it would be close in this last 100, but it looks like North Shore's raised the rate there, and I think they might just have retained that lead, but definitely that Leichhardt crew has pressured them, and they have come back. And
Borgert goes up in rate. This is going to be close down to the line. McBride and Blackwell go up from North Shore, and you know what? They will maintain that lead despite a late push from that Leichhardt crew of Borgert and Zonga. They both come through the line in unofficial times of 7:22 and about 4:22 and 4:24 respectively. Following through will be the crew of Brigham and Hutchison from Leichhardt.
Yeah, it's some really good rowing there, Michael. The ability there from that North Shore crew just to hold off that handicap that the Leichhardt pair had, but they were able to hold it off quite well, and it was probably, 2 seconds at the line. So very impressive, really good, and it's a credit to the handicap system that it gets that close.
Of course, that's right. McBride and Blackwell off go there, and Zonga and Borgert off 10 seconds. So just to recap, in first place was Peggy McBride and Nikki Blackwell from North Shore. In second place, Daniela Borgert and Jennifer Zonga from Leichhardt in second. In third place was Belinda Brigham and Jane Hutchison from Leichhardt. And also from Leichhardt in fourth place was Nikki Lepresti and Leslie Howard. And so, Pete, we're straight back into it. It's Division 1 of the Men's Masters Single Scull. In lane 2, representing Leichhardt Rowing Club, Charles Buzzacott, coached by Jeff Patterson and Steve Sherry. In lane 3, representing Drummoyne Rowing Club, Benjamin Founts, coached by Robin Macney. In lane 4, representing Shell Harbour City, Kevin Wall. In lane 5, representing Leichhardt, is Guayan Guaymarez, coached by Steve Sherry. In lane 6, representing the University of New South Wales, Mohammed Eid. In lane 7, representing Leichhardt, is David Raymond, coached by Jeff Patterson and Steve Sherry. And finally, in lane 8, representing Glebe Rowing Club, Andy Wigan. Now, Pete, this is another handicap race. B and C grade Masters rowers here, so no one over the age of 45. So this should be I suppose, technically be the quickest heat that we see in terms of the grading system. Of course, we saw Buzzicott and Raymond take out the men's Masters double a short while ago, and of course, those gentlemen are national champions in the double scull. But in the single scull, it'll be interesting to see that battle take place between the pair of them. And of course, Andy Wigan from Glebe coming in second place in the double scull a short while ago, and a quality sculler himself.
Yeah, this will be a great race to watch, Michael. I've a couple of familiar names there. I know Kevin Wall is actually a PR3 rower who's in this Masters able-bodied race, and he has represented, I believe it's South Australia from memory, and he's a old Irish rower, so any Irish people there will know the Wall family as formidable boat builders in Ireland. And a bit of niche rowing knowledge for you, niche Irish rowing knowledge there for you. But he has been rowing for would be 20 plus years now, so very experienced in the single. And so it'll be good to watch him versing, as you said, these really quite impressive Leichhardt scullers, Raymond and Buzzcott. So we'll see how we go. We'll believe.
Just trying to get a line now on the start, Pete. It's tough. There's a little bit of a... Oh, you know what? I think the breeze might have died down a little bit.
It does look so, doesn't it? It was pretty blowy when we were here in the morning, but it looks like it's starting to die down, which is it's nice, nice fair racing. But it will be that UNSW, Leichhardt and Glebe scullers are off go, and 4 seconds later, as it were, we have the rest of the field heading off. So we're all underway now.
So we might be looking at a relatively quick race in this one, Pete. The headwind has died down, and our scullers are in the lower grades of the Masters categories. And so let's just see how this race unfolds. I think preliminarily we've got, I think that might be Buzzicott from Leichhardt out very quickly in lane 2. Yes,
Yeah,
it does appear so. And also Raymond from Leichhardt in lane 7.
Yeah, that does look like the case. Now that's quite impressive. So the Buzzicott there is off 4 seconds. So the fact that he's out ahead with Raymond, who was off go, is a pretty good achievement that he's made up that lead already. So we'll see as they come through the 500 metre mark. I'm sure we'll get a picture of that where they all stand. But surely to make up that 4 second lead in the first 250 metres is a pretty impressive feat.
The 1,000 metre race distance, Pete, is a tough one because it's not, well, it is a sprint, but it's kind of not quite a sprint, is it?
Yeah, it's just a little bit too long for sprinting. We'll see later the 500 metre racing is definitely a sprint, but the 1,000 metre ones, it's a little bit, you can really hurt yourself in 500 metres, so it's enough to just be quite uncomfortable.
Oh, and look at this. We've got 3 scullers from Leichhardt Rowing Club, all within a very close margins of each other, closely pursued by Andy Wigan of Glebe. And they're just coming through the 500 metres now. And I think it might just be David Raymond with his nose in front of the others. Quine Guaymarez in lane 5, also up there with the field. So, you know what, Pete, this is going to go down to the wire. Let's just see who can hold on in the final 500 metres.
Yeah, definitely. It's good showing from these Leichhardt scullers as well as Andy Wigan, the Glebe sculler. So we'll be interesting to see in this last 500 metres.
Looks like David Raymond of Leichhardt in lane 7 is just having some difficulty with his steering, just playing with the boys a little bit there on this close side. But certainly Guaymarez from Leichhardt in lane 5, aged 39 years of age, coached by Steve Sherry. has an advantage over Wigan and Raymond now. The question will be whether Buzzicott in lane 2 on the far side of the course, he's age 41, coached by Patterson and Sherry as well, can exert some kind of duress on him. They were both off 4 seconds, so they're both at this, and no temporal advantage for either of them. But it does look at the moment as though Guaymares has his nose in front. I don't want to call it too early.
Yeah, we can see a couple of these scullers on this near side here are really raising that rate, but as you said, it was looking like that Leichhardt sculler is ahead, but you can see the Glebe sculler's really going for it. He's seen that 250 mark and he knows it's time to go.
Well,
and
right.
But we do also probably see the same thing from these two Leichhardt scullers on the further side over, so it looks like...
Well, Pete, the boys are starting to turn red, and our scullers here on the course are throwing the rate through the roof. Guaymares in lane 5, up he goes. He's probably at high 30s, into the 40s now. He's going really hard now, and he's competing with Buzzicott. It's going stroke for stroke. It's going to be really tight, but I think it might be Buzzicott from Leichhardt who just takes it on the line from Guaymares of Leichhardt. Andy Wigan from Glebe will be third, followed by David Raymond of Leichhardt in 4th place. And that's a fantastic race, Pete. It's
a great sculling race, that one, isn't it? That was a really, really good down to the wire there between those two Leichhardt scullers. Fantastic to watch. And finalising the field, we have Kev Wall doing a fantastic job there, formerly at Balmain Rowing Club, now at Shell Harbour City in the B-grade Masters division, followed by our Drummoyne sculler, Benjamin Faunce. So coached by Robin Mackney there, a fantastic coach at Drummoyne, my old coach. They're doing a fantastic job there with the Drummoyne rowers.
I've just got Eid from UNSW to finalise our field, lane 6. But certainly a 3:49 provisionally, of course, was the winning time for that race from Charles Buzzicott of Leichhardt Rowing Club, and that's pretty speedy conditions. It's been a while since I have had direct experience with 1,000 metre racing, Pete, but certainly it's relatively fast time, you would think. What's that divided by 2? I
think maths has never been good, but I feel like 150, bit under 155,
yeah, okay.
Which is quite an I mean, I might be wrong there, but that's a pretty decent bit of speed there in
decent splits
in the 1K race for the Masters division. It's pretty impressive, if I'm correct with that.
And certainly they were both under duress in the last couple of strokes there. So kitchen sink and some more being thrown in those final stages, and fantastic racing. And if that's an indicator of things to come, I think we are in for a fantastic day.
You certainly are, Michael.
Of course,
that was a good
ladies
bit of
and
racing.
gentlemen, we're just seeing the remainder of our Reindeer Regatta program out this morning before changing regattas and putting our sprint hats on for 500 metre racing, which should be cracking to watch and cracking to commentate. So I'm looking forward to that. Just while there's a brief lull in racing, we've got race 101 lining up on the course now. But I would like to take this opportunity to remind everyone, this is a message from Cirque Management. The Regatta Centre has a multi-day event this Monday and Tuesday on the island. So can we please, this is a request from the management, can everyone just ensure that all boats, equipment, trailers and vehicles are taken off-site at the completion of the regatta and not left on site, as the event is utilising all spaces of the island and needs to be kept clear. So just if we can help out the management of Cirque, that would be fantastic to ensure that everything's cleared by the end of the day.
Yeah, and it is good, Michael, that we have a venue here, and we do expect that they're going to hold different events here at this fantastic venue. Anything through to sprints, nationals, right on through to DEFCON, Michael. So it's good that we have this venue for us, and we'll keep it clean and tidy so we can keep hosting these fantastic events.
And Pete, race 101 is underway. It's Division 2 of the Men's Masters Single Scull. Representing Glebe in lane 2 is Nicholas Galea, aged 49 years. In lane 3, also representing Glebe, is Brad Smith, aged 48. We have a scratching from Mark Partridge of Newcastle Uni. In lane 5, representing Glebe, is Kenny Major, aged 54. In lane 6, representing Drummoyne, is Gabriel Haythornthwaite, aged 57. And finally, from Nepean Rowing Club, Paul Grady, aged 56. So we have a 9-second handicap for Galea and Smith of Glebe in lanes 2 and 3, 5-second handicap for Major of Glebe in lane 5, and then Haythornthwaite and Grady of Drummoyne and Nepean off go. So casting my eyes out onto this field, Pete, it looks as though our scullers are maintaining across the board a fairly high rate of striking in these early stages. I think that's Major from Glebe in lane 5 that you can just see on the right hand of your Bont rowing live stream, who rowing extremely well, of course. Kenny Major, Pete, a former state representative for New South Wales in the lightweight category, so certainly some pedigree being thrown around in this race, 101. Of course, Brad Smith of Glebe, in his own right, a fantastic sculler as well.
I think Kenny Major won the Penrith Cup in 99, I think, Michael.
99,
which was the second last time it happened before 2018. So very, very impressive sculler, and I'm sure sweep oarsman as well. But it looks like it will be at this point Nepean Paul Grady, who did go off go. So we have that to look at. Kenny Major off 5 seconds. So whether Kenny's able to keep this speed up as opposed to his Nepean competitor, he should be able to just edge his nose in front.
Well, certainly, Pete. Grady from Nepean has maintaining a cracking pace coming through. He's just through the halfway mark of the race now, so he'll be feeling the pinch, you would think, right about now. Some ferocious rowing.
Yeah, great rowing. Something out of the 90s there with that boat as well, Michael. That's an old...
Love to see it.
An old S&B single, by the looks of things, something along those lines, the side mount riggers.
So Grady is being pursued with some passion by Major of Glebe and Haythornthwaite of Drummoyne. So let's just see if he has burnt his bickies too quickly, and that remains to be seen. But certainly Major from Glebe Rowing Club in the middle of the course, looking relatively calm, and you would think well placed to launch a late attack on Grady's lead, who is in lane 7. Looks like Galea in lane 2 from Glebe, just a little bit off the pace, and Haythornthwaite from Drummoyne just a boat length back.
Yeah, and Grady really throwing, as you said, Michael, throwing the kitchen sink at it. He's really raising that rate, and it looks like he might have actually extended that lead a little bit on Kenny Major there.
Well, Kenny Major's coming back through, but he's lifting as well. He's rowing nice and long.
He is.
Grady just a little bit
there.
shorter, I think, but this will be close, actually. We come through the final stages. The Red Boys they're passing through the Red Boys now. But you know what, Pete? I think Grady might have done enough.
Yep, Grady, really impressive bit of rowing there from Grady. He's kept that rate up there at 40, and he's just ticking along, isn't he? And he's done a fantastic job to take that race out. So, you know what, that's probably one of the braver races we've seen, certainly today, by Paul Grady. So very good from him there, holding off that fierce charge from Kenny Major, and followed there by Gabriel Haythornthwaite. And then Brad Smith, also another very fierce competitor. So, my apologies, Michael. That wasn't Brad Smith. That was Nicholas Galea.
Yeah, so it looks like we didn't have a start from Brad Smith in that race. But yeah, so what a cracking race. That was 4:04 unofficially from winning time from Paul Grady. So a little bit off the pace from the first division, the B and C grade Masters Scullers. But certainly some good racing nevertheless. We have race 102 moving right along on the course now, and they're coming through the 500 metres. In lane 3, representing Drummoyne, is Robert Glendenning, aged 62 years and coached by Kath Haxtell. In lane 4, representing Nepean, is Andrew Sapansky, coached by Lindsay Callahan. In lane 5, representing UTS, is Timothy Wilsallen, coached by Tim McLaren. In lane 6, representing Mossman, is James Taylor. And finally, in lane 7, representing North Shore Rowing Club, is Kim Rudder.
Yeah, and a good race this one is as well, Michael. We have Rob Glendenning doing a fantastic job in the sport of rowing and has been doing for some time, and a great guy if you ever get chatting to him. Does a lot of work at MLC doing the rowing program there, I believe. Might be wrong there, but also we have Tim Wilsellen at UTS, another great guy. So some really some top operators in this one, but it looks like at this point it will be Tim from UTS, coached by Tim McLaren, will, I think, just have the lead here in that distinctive black fluid design boat. Over the Mossman sculler James Taylor, who went off go. So we can assume with Tim going off 10 seconds from UTS that he'll probably have gained that time up and will have a little bit more speed than his competitors, at least at this point. It certainly does look, he looks like he's rowing quite cleanly there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just had a couple of dirty strokes there, did Will Sallin. But he's looking good as he comes into the final stages of this race.
Yeah, and he will lead there from the Mossman sculler. He looks like he's extending that lead just ever so slightly. So he's not just maintaining. He's really having a push. So very impressive there from Tim as he crosses the line in first place. And it will be followed by that Mossman sculler. That is James Taylor. And I believe from the looks of things, it will be Rob Glendenning from Drummoyne coming through in third place in lane 3. As he pushes for the line there, really impressive push there from Rob. He does come through there in third place, followed by lane 7, North Shore's Kim Rudder.
Kim Rudder in his distinctive bucket hat. If you've ever rowed on the Lane Cove River in Sydney, you'll no doubt have seen Kim Rudder out there in his tinny coaching for North Shore Rowing Club. And he's also coached at St. Joseph's.
Yeah, very distinguished coach there is Kim. Definitely been around the scene, and as well as Rob does a fantastic job in the world of rowing. So really good to see that. And finalising the field there in lane 4 will be Nepean 2's Andrew Sapansky. So coached by Lindsay Callahan. A great effort there from all scullers.
So Pete, just as we have our sculler from the team finalising the field, we do have race 103, which is the mixed quad scull on the course.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive race here, Michael, as well. We probably don't have time to call the names out, but we've got Sydney, Glebe Composite, University of New South Wales, Newcastle Uni, and University of New South Wales 2. And at this point, Michael, that Sydney crew, Thompson, Dunlop, Furrer, and Hoffman, are doing a fantastic job, coached by Lachlan Carter. Cart's great distinguished coach down there at Sydney Rowing Club, does a fantastic job with the young men and women. And of course here is no difference as they cross the line in first place, and it will be followed by, I believe that will be the lane 6 crew, Newcastle Uni.
Thanks, Pete. Yes, that's the crew of Chadwick, Goldfinch, Walkerton and Bosco, closely followed by UNSW, Ristic, Gates, Sargent and V. Cox. And a second crew from UNSW, Stanwick's, Geong, Ball and Sinogles. And in the Glebe Composite crew, I think it is. Oh, this is just a regular Glebe crew. Gemma Bassett, Kate Borum, Callum Steele and Tony Rogers. And then, of course, in lane 4 to finalise the field, the Glebe Composite crew, that's Catherine Maxwell, Mika Kelly, Stephen Caldwell and Mark Tejan. Mark's obviously been up here commentating this weekend. But certainly, Pete, that crew from Sydney Rowing Club was always going to be tough to beat. And those are some state and national representatives in that crew. That was the crew of India Thompson, Eliza Dunlop, Henry Ferrer and Andy Hoffman.
Yeah, correct, Michael. That would be a very, very tough crew to beat. That's a really distinguished boat, that one. So definitely good from them and good from all the athletes from second onwards, because that is a tough race with that Sydney crew out there. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that race start time was 9:13. It's now 9:16, so a nice quick race. However, we do have another lull in proceedings, so our next race will be at 9:44. So that's 9:44 is the next race coming down. Again, if you would like, you can go and get some drinks or refreshments from the canteen or cafeteria around the corner from the grandstand. And Boat Shed 1, another reminder that if you have won a race yesterday and you would like to pick up your mug as a reward, fantastic mugs, they always get good use out of them. So if you have won a race yesterday or today, please head over to Boat Shed 1 to pick up the mugs. And they are fantastic, those little mugs. So yeah, so a half an hour break there till the next race at 9:44. I'd also, whilst I've got your attention now, just like to thank our accommodation partners, Quest Apartments in Penrith. Fantastic venue there, Quest. And again, the kiosk around the corner there, fantastic little cafeteria for refreshments here whilst we're watching the rowing. Also, if you have any substitutions or withdrawals, please lodge them in Boat Shed 1, as it does make proceedings a lot easier for our volunteers and officials. And bow numbers will also be available from Boat Shed 1. So Boat Shed 1 is the shed in the rigging lake down in the back lake there. I believe we'll say closest to the training lake. That's Boat Shed 1, isn't it? Yeah, that's the best way of explaining it. But that's where all the action's happening. Oh, well, Michael, I think we'll leave it at that until 9:44, and we'll be back on then.
We'll see you shortly. racing at this stage. Just having looked down the course, I can see that there are 3 crews in this race. I think they might have just gotten underway. In lane 4, representing St George, is Clement Birdsall and Christopher Jones. Now coached by Bruce Williams. They're off 18 seconds. In lane 5, representing the University of New South Wales, is David Lees and Matthew Bayfield. And finally, in lane 6, also from the University of New South Wales, is James Halliday and William Moyes. So lane 6, Halliday and Moyes are off go. 6 seconds back to Lees and Bayfield. And then 18 seconds to Birdsall and Jones. Birdsall and Jones, 31 and 51 years of age respectively, so a bit more of an advantage. They're a B-grade pair, whereas we've got E and F for Lees, Bayfield, Halliday and Moyes. It does appear as though the 2 UNSW pairs are in the lead at this stage, and I think it's the closest crew, Halliday and Moyes, at this stage of the race, who are in front. Of course, they're the crew that commenced off go. I would say that they're being closed down by Lees and Bayfield.
As they come through the 500 metre mark there, Michael, it does look like it's the middle UNSW crew. David Lees there, no relation to the great Henry Lees, in the lead. And trailing behind there would be St George.
Yeah, Pete, that's the crew of Clement Birdsall and Christopher Jones, coached by Bruce Williams. They had an 18-second handicap, but they have been closed down and indeed jumped by these UNSW crews. David Lees, Matthew Bayfield, James Halliday and William Moyes. I mentioned a short while ago, Pete, that Lees and Bayfield were making up the distance on Halliday and Moyes, but they haven't quite overtaken them yet, as far as I can tell. We are coming into the final 250 metres of this race shortly, so that will become apparent very soon.
Coming through this last 100, it looks like it will be the UNSW crew that was off go there, the F grade crew in lane 6, that will keep that lead that they had at the start, that 6-second lead over David Lees and Matthew Bayfield.
However, Lees and Bayfield are lifting now though, Pete. They've got a higher rate of striking than do Halliday and Moyes, so they are closing the gap, but I don't think it's going to be enough time.
Had a few messy strokes there just on the buoy line, which is unfortunate to see, and it's quite common in the pair race. It's hard to keep those boats straight, and it is lane 6 coming through first place, followed by lane 5, the 2 UNSW crews, and finally St George in lane 4. And they were off 18 seconds, so pretty impressive there from St George to come back from that handicap margin there. Finishing off with a 5.6 second difference there between that UNSW crew. So pretty impressive there from St George.
Yeah, Pete, that one was for bragging rights between those 2 UNSW crews. I saw some relieved congratulations being exchanged between that Halliday and Moyes crew. So congratulations, guys. Well deserved. And Pete, we're moving right along now to the women's Masters double scull, which is on the course. It's race 105, ladies and gentlemen, on your programs. In lane 2, representing the University of New South Wales, in fact, I'll read down from lane 8. These are the crews off go. Lane 8 representing Leichhardt is Daniela Borgert and Jennifer Zonga, coached by Steve Sherry and Jeff Patterson. In lane 7 representing Glebe is Selena Steele and Kate Wareham. In lane 6 representing Leichhardt, Belinda Brigham and Jane Hutchison. And in lane 5 representing North Shore, Zita Briones and Olivia Tung. So those are the 4 crews off go. 4-second handicap representing Glebe is Hailey Lindahl and Jacqueline Harris. In lane 3 off 5 seconds is Gemma Bassett and Elizabeth Dorian. And in lane 2, there was a scratching from a UNSW crew. That was Gabrielle Harradine and Carly Chaplin.
Yeah, Michael, so a good spread in this one. We have the crews off go there. Expected probably at the 500 metre mark to be a little bit ahead. And then again, with these handicaps, you never really know what it's going to look like through the red boys. But certainly at the moment, it is... it's a bit too close to call at this point. We'll get a bit of a better picture when they come through the 500.
I think it could be Lindahl and Harris from Glebe, or it could be, I think...
Does look like a Glebe Zudi there in front, doesn't it, Michael?
I think it's lane 4 in front.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think it's lane 4. That would be Lindahl and Harris. So
Jacqueline Harris, Pete, was in the single scull not so long ago, and I think she might have won that race.
Yeah, so some good scullers there, and certainly coming into the double scull, taking those skills over. It looks like they have still got that lead. Now, they were off 4 seconds, so the fact that they're ahead now at the 500 is a pretty impressive sign. It does look like they probably have a bit of a better speed than some of those crews that have gone off go. Now, whether they're able to retain that, 1,000 metres is still a long way, so it'll be good to see. And certainly through this last 150 or so metres, it looks like it will be that Glebe crew still in the lead. They have lengthened that lead out ever so slightly over the Leichhardt, and I believe that is a North Shore crew there as well. So Leichhardt and North Shore just trailing behind a little bit there from the Glebe double. Impressive bit of sculling there. 2 very experienced scullers in this Glebe boat, so probably an expected result there as they stride ever so comfortably through the red boys to take out this race. But there is a race on our hands here, Michael, between lane 5 and lane 8. And they're coming up towards the line. It will be lane 4 winning this one. Lane 5 and lane 8, really close, stroke for stroke. Is it going to be too close to call, I think, Michael? That's too close to call. We'll have a look at the photo finish there that's for that one. But second and third, now a reminder that we do have medal. Oh no, my apologies, Michael. We've got cups for these races, and then once we hit the sprints, we will have first, second, and third medals.
Oh, fantastic!
Which is great. Yeah, great to see. But Michael, I want to see who got second place there in that photo finish.
We just have Steele and Warham from Glebe Rowing Club in lane 7, crossing over the line, and in lane 3, Gemma Bassett and Elizabeth Dorian crossing over the line now. So that was an extremely close finish, Pete. Yeah, for mine, it was just that crew from that Glebe crew, I think Bassett and Dorian, who just because of the way where they were in the stroke, pipped Borgert and Zonga for mine. But look, I'm going to leave that one to the judges. Extremely close, though, in any event.
Yeah, you do see that in rowing with those really, really close finishes. A lot of the time, we have the boats surging at different parts of the stroke, so sometimes we see those really close finishes are just based on who's at what part of what stroke. And it looked like, as you said, that Glebe crew Might have just been, we have a result there.
0.03, Peter.
0.03. So definitely nothing in it there, really.
Nothing in that one. Look, if that's an indication of racing to follow later today, we're in for a treat. Moving right along, though, race 106 is now on the course. It's Division 2 of the Women's Masters Double Scull. I'll just run through the crews as their crews are coming down the course. They're about to come through the 500-metre mark. In lane 2, representing Endeavour Rowing Club, Jules Bosco, age 53, and Teresa Chadwick, age 44. They're coached by Peter Bond, and they're a C-grade crew. In lane 3, representing is a Newcastle composite crew. This is a crew of 5 seconds. It's Wendy Roncolato from Des Moines and Phoebe Sanders from Newcastle. In lane 4, representing Des Moines, is Janine Donovan and Caroline Vernon. They're coached by Robin Mackney. In lane 5, a Des Moines composite is comprised of Renata Ipma and Kath Hextell, coached by Robert Glendenning. In lane 6, representing North Shore Rowing Club, Ruth Gibson and Louise McCoach, coached by Kim Rudder. And finally, in lane 7, representing Endeavour Rowing Club, Kim Stedman and Diane McShane, coached by Peter Bond. Now, Peter, we had 2 crews off go, and that was the North Shore and Endeavour crews in lane 6 and 7, respectively. 5 seconds were the crews in lanes 4 and 5, Des Moines and Des Moines Composite, and also in lane 3, the Newcastle Composite crew, and 9 seconds handicap to Endeavour, and that was the crew of Jules Bosco and Teresa Chadwick. Now, it does look as though the crews in the centre of the course, I think it's the Des Moines Composite crew of Ipma and Hextell. I think they've got their noses in front.
Yeah, it does look like it. We're also joined in the commentary box by Marcus Delamata, so good to have you, Marcus.
Thank you, Peter.
And as you said, Michael, it does look like it is Renata and Kathleen Hextell out in front, and 2 fantastic scullers, both of which oarsmen I have rowed with before, and they're fantastic oarsmen around the bay from Des Moines and Balmain.
That's right. So it's Kath Hextell, a fantastic degree of involvement in masters and indoor rowing in New South Wales, and so it's that they are some fierce competition. So it's a good race as they come through the final stages. They're looking strong and powerful, though. Nice and easy. It doesn't look like they're under any immediate pressure from their competitors. So it will be Kathleen Hextell and Renata Ipma in that Des Moines composite boat who command this race from start to finish. It's a close race for second place. North Shore Rowing Club, Gibson and McCoach lifting towards the line, but they won't be fast enough to best Roncolato and Sanders in that Newcastle composite crew. And finally, to round out our minor placing, in 4th place, my mistake, is Donovan and Vernon.
Yeah, some good racing there. Michael and Wendy Roncolato there, a fantastic oarsman from Des Moines. So good to see some of those bay clubs having a hit out here in the Women's Masters Double Division 2. And we'll be finalising that field there with lane 7 and lane 2. Now that was Endeavour, Endeavour 4 and Endeavour 3. And that concludes Division 2 of the Women's Masters Double Scull. And we will, in a second, turn our attention to Division 3 of the Women's Masters Double Scull. In lane 2, we have Newcastle Composite, and that's Kristen McCready and Tess Fearon. In lane 3, North Shore, Vicky Grundy and Sarah Culhan. In lane 4, Endeavour, Katrina Whitley and Diana Trescott, my apologies. In lane 5, the Balmain Composite crew has scratched, so they won't be racing. All those crews are handicapped off 27 seconds. So handicapped off 21 seconds would be that Balmain Composite crew that has scratched. So the next handicap is 13 seconds, Endeavour in lane 6. Now that's Chris Brennan and Lindy Nesbitt. And then finally in lane 7, we have Abbotsford off go. That's Judy Mann and Lillian Hayes. So a bit more of a wide handicap than we've seen before, Michael. We have everyone off go, a crew off go, and a couple of crews off 27 seconds, which over a kilometre is a hell of a distance.
That is a substantial margin to make up over 1,000 metres, Pete. For mine, it is that Endeavour crew, Chris Brennan and Lindy Nesbitt at this point, coming through the 500 metres, who do command a healthy lead at this point over, I think it's the Newcastle composite crew, McCready and Fearon, at this stage, who are in second place. Not under any kind of immediate pressure are the Endeavour crew from Newcastle Composite right now. And just coming through on your Bont Rowing live stream screen, you can see that crew from North Shore and Endeavour, lanes 3 and 4. And closest to your screen, that crew from Abbotsford who went off go. That's Judy Mann and Lillian Hayes, coached by Steve Sherry. So the water's calmed down a little bit, Pete. We had a little bit of a head earlier on this morning, so our scullers and oarsmen and women will be relieved to see that there is no wind whipping up the water over the sterns of the boats at the moment. There's just you can just see on the live stream the flags here at the Regatta Centre are waving delicately in the wind, but nothing too ferocious.
They are, yeah. It was pretty aggressive when we were here this morning, but has died down a little bit, which makes for some good, fair racing, especially as we come into the final race of our Reindeer Regatta, Michael. And after this, we will proceed with the Sprint Championships. So a slightly different change of scene as we move to this 500-metre racing, assisted by our ever-capable Lynx timing system. So in the final race here, finalising the Reindeer Regatta, our very festive regatta here, it looks like our first place holders, it will be actually a pretty close one here, Michael, but it looks at this point like it'll be lane 2. That's the Newcastle composite crew of McCready and Fearon.
A stellar effort there, Pete, for that Newcastle composite crew to come through and snatch the lead off that Endeavour crew of Chris Brennan and Lindy Nisbet. And they've done so in the last 250 metres. A 15-second or so handicap has been made up by that Newcastle composite crew, and they're pretty stoked with it. Endeavour comes through in second place, the crew of Brennan and Nisbet. And to complete the field now, we have that North Shore crew of Vicky Grundy and Sarah Collane. Not under too much pressure from Katrina Whiteley and Diana Trescott of Endeavour.
Yeah, again, really good racing here today, Michael, in these final Masters events for the Reindeer Regatta. But it will be our lane 4 crossing the line there. That's Endeavour, Whiteley and Trescott. And finalising the field will be Abbotsford, the crew that went off go. That would be Mann and Hayes, coached by Steve Sherry.
And so, Pete, that's Judy Mann and Lillian Hayes of Abbotsford Rowing Club just floating with the boys as they come across the line there. And they will finish in 5th place in this, the 3rd division of the Women's Masters Double Scull, race 107. And our final race for the 2021 Reindeer Regatta. It's been a fantastic regatta, both yesterday and this morning. And we'll have a short break of about half an hour, or less than slightly, before we commence the 2021 Rowing New South Wales Sprint Championships. Of course, this is a racing competed over only 500 metres, and it's a fantastic rowing to watch. It's short, it's sharp, it's fiery, and so I'm looking forward to calling those races up here in the box, and I hope everyone is looking forward to it as well. So plenty of time for you to go and get a coffee from the Lakeside restaurant, and to get some food into you, some morning tea before we kick off in about 25 minutes' time. So thanks, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you soon.